Welcome back to the 9 p.m. edition of the Urban Debate, and tonight we put the focus back on the ongoing protest by the resident doctors, especially in the national capital. There seems to be no hope for the doctor center logjam to end anytime soon. The resident doctors have been protesting for over a month now, demanding expedition of NEET PG counselling. Today, the health minister met the protesting doctors, but the meeting remained inconclusive. Patients, meanwhile, across hospitals in Delhi had to bear the brunt of the doctor center impasse. So what is the way forward? What will end this logjam? Is this how our COVID warriors must be treated? Those are the questions that we are asking. And before we begin our debate on this very, very important issue, here's a report that will tell you what happened throughout the day in the national capital.
Resident doctors in Delhi have intensified their protests over the delay in NEET PG counselling. Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia held another round of talks with protesting doctors. However, the meeting remained inconclusive. The resident doctors have been protesting across the nation as the NEET PG 2021 batch's admission counselling has been delayed by 8 months now.
Like before today, again we had gone to meet her, and all the representatives from hospitals have met him. And today again he has given verbal assurance that within a week the report is going to be submitted in the Supreme Court, and they are going to mention the case for early hearing. और हमने अभी लोगों को बताया ये बात, बट अभी लोग तो मान नहीं रहे, तो इनको थोड़ा समझाना पड़ेगा. बट अभी तो हमारा प्रोटेस्ट कंटिन्यू रहेगा.
Meanwhile, it is the patients who are bearing the brunt of the protests. Patient care services, including emergency services, have been boycotted as part of a nationwide protest by Forum of Resident Doctors Association or FORDA.
2-3 बार आ चुके, बोले हड़ताल चल रही है, नई दवा मिलेगी, तो दवा भी नहीं दी. अब फिर हम 15 दिन बाद, 15 नहीं 10 दिन हुए होंगे, फिर आए, तो अब आज पर्ची नहीं दी, बोले अब तो जल्दी बंद हो गया. हम 9:30 बजे आ गए, वैसे तो हमेशा पर्ची मिल जाती थी.
मेरे बच्चे के खांसी जुकाम हुआ, सही नहीं, देख नहीं रहे, ये हड्डी हाँ. तो नो कह रहे हैं कि 1 महीना बाद ना इसके दिखवाऊंगी, इसके हाथ सही नहीं है.
अब 1 महीना होगा चक्कर लगाते लगाते यहाँ पे जब भी आते हैं या तो पर्ची नहीं बन पाती है, और पर्ची कभी बन भी जाती है तो वहाँ तक डॉक्टर उठ जाते हैं वहाँ से. और आज भी गए वो पर्ची पर डेट नहीं डल पाई, भीड़ इतनी थी, उन्होंने फिर कुछ नहीं बदतमीजी कर दी. पता नहीं क्या हुआ, उन्होंने फिर खिड़की बंद करके बैठे हुए, अब देख ही नहीं रहा कोई भी वहाँ पे.
उन्होंने बोला हड़ताल है तो कहीं और दिखा दो.
इमरजेंसी में भी नहीं देखा क्या?
नहीं,
इमरजेंसी में मना कर.
हाँ बोल रहे हैं इमरजेंसी में डॉक्टर ही नहीं है, डॉक्टर नहीं है, कोई नहीं है.
आज 15 दिन से चेकअप करवाए सारा चीज़, बट ये डॉक्टर जो ना ऑपरेशन की डेट नहीं दे रहे, वो उनकी हड़ताल चल रही बोल रहे.
आज आए हैं तो डॉक्टर क्या बोले, मतलब
आज हड़ताल चल रही है, डॉक्टर बोले कि अभी डेट नहीं मिलेगी, 1 हफ्ते के बाद आओ.
सिटी स्कीम का वो लेना था, डेट डलवाना था, वहाँ से रेफर करे थे लेडी गार्डन से. अब यहाँ आए तो बता रहे हैं कि अभी जो है कि डॉक्टर की छुट्टी है. जो जिन पे बीतता है वो जानता है, सरकार को और इनको क्या पता डॉक्टरों की क्या हालत है लोगों की.
आप सभी से लगातार विनती की जा रही है, यहाँ धारा 144 लगी हुई है.
The doctors are protesting in front of the health ministry today. There was a meeting between Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia and a delegation of Federation of Resident Doctor Association, but that remained inconclusive because the minister assured the doctors that somewhere the government is trying to expedite the matter, but the doctors said that they are not convinced with the government's idea of a verbal communication. They want this matter of PG counselling to be expedited in Supreme Court, and that's why all these doctors from RML, Safdarjung, GTB and MAMC are out here protesting against the government of India.
The plight of overburdened and exhausted resident doctors seems to have fallen on deaf ears of the government, and it seems that the centre does not seem to be concerned about the issue even as the deadlock continues. What will end the doctor centre logjam? It's high time that the centre provides relief to protesting resident doctors as well as the patients suffering because of it. Bureau Report, Mirror Now.
So this strike by the resident doctors in different parts of the national capital has entered day 4. The talks with the centre have remained inconclusive. More than 5,000 resident doctors, in fact, at some of the big hospitals in Delhi participating in their strike, boycotting all their duties. Let's discuss this particular issue and what can be done to end this logjam. Because on one hand, while the doctors, these resident doctors, are overworked, they are exhausted, they are not robots, is what they are saying. On the other hand, the patients who come from different parts of the country to these hospitals in Delhi are suffering as well in this extremely cold weather. Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, Chairman, Nephron Clinic, joining us on the broadcast this evening. We have Dr. Anuj Agrawal, General Secretary, Safdarjung RDA, Dr. Manik Seth, who is President, Safdarjung RDA. We have Dr. J.A. Jayalal, who is President, Indian Medical Association. Also joining us on the broadcast is Professor Gobardhan Das, BJP leader. He's also Professor, Molecular Medicine at JNU. Good evening to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us here on Urban Debate. I want to begin the discussion with you, Dr. Manik Seth. What really happened with the meeting with the centre today?
Your voice just got cut. I couldn't hear the question. Can you repeat it?
Dr. Seth, what is it that the centre has to say? What happened in the meeting with the centre?
3 or 4 rounds of talks with the government, informal talks, only verbal assurances, nothing concrete. So earlier, on their verbal assurance, we suspended our strike for some time. But their verbal assurances did not transform into action. So we had to start our strike again, indefinite strike. So our faith in the government has now been shaken, I would say.
Okay. Dr. Anuj Agrawal, for the benefit of our viewers and for the panelists here, could you tell us what exactly are you demanding?
Ma'am, basically, we have a single demand. We just want the NEET PG 2021 counseling, which has already been delayed for 9 months now. It should be fast-tracked and it should happen as soon as possible. We are doing that because the admission of almost 45,000 doctors who have qualified the exam into their respective MD or MS specialization courses has been put on hold. And we just wish that the admission process should begin, because we are having an impending threat of third wave of COVID also, which is expected in February in India. And we want that our hospitals should have the complete strength. They should have complete number of doctors in all the 3 batches, so that we can we can deal with this third wave of COVID and we can provide a better kind of healthcare to the patients.
Okay. Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, you've heard the demand of the doctors, the resident doctors across the national capital, and the kind of assurances that have been coming from the centre. Is it too much, sir, that the resident doctors are asking for?
Good evening, Heena. Just allow me a couple of minutes, because this discussion is, apart from facts and figures, is more emotional and more deep at the heart to understand the core issue. There is no greater profession which can fall on human shoulders than to become a physician and doctor. And I would say that on behalf of 15 lakh doctors in India, almost each and every one of us carry this with great amount of empathy, compassion. It's not only a career, it's a commitment for life. We sacrifice our youth, we sacrifice our lives, our family, our time, our space, and every desire, big or small, to first accomplish and complete the course, which is running for 10 to 15 years after college, and then to serve patients. I dare say if anyone enters medicine just to earn money, he is in the wrong line. If the same amount of time and energy was spent in any other avenue, including business, the person would have earned a lot more. So this is beyond money, this is beyond commercials. But looking at it, it's the most challenging, physically, mentally, emotionally. It's the most demanding, it's the most stressful job. We are about 1.5 million doctors short. And looking at what the doctors need, these are basic things which I myself have gone through I'm from KEM Bombay and then GS Medical and Wadia Children's Hospital and then studied abroad for many, many years. We need more number of doctors, so no more number of medical colleges. We need proper working hours. There is a lot of extended infinite hours which decrease the performance of doctors. We need protection from assault. We need insurance, life insurance and medical insurance. We need terminal life benefits. This should be treated as any other corporate line. Give us some sort of CTC. Give the junior doctors more protection. That's their life. The young ones are working almost 24 hours a day. Having said this, improving pay scales and improving living conditions, the hostel conditions in a lot of medical colleges is not optimal. That's to say the least. But coming to the issue of the expression of the demand. So I've just clearly laid out what we really need as a medical fraternity. But I think striking and stopping work which will affect patient care perhaps is not the most appropriate and not the most just way forward. I'm not taking any political sides because I'm totally apolitical. I think the present government is extremely sensitive towards the medical fraternity demands. What I would actually request is through the IMA and the state regional offices of IMA to make a very nice, comprehensive presentation, even up to the Prime Minister. And I can say that the Prime Minister is extremely compassionate about what the doctors have done during this COVID period. Reach out to the government, reach out to the policymakers. I'm not only sure, but I'm convinced that we will find a resolution. But affecting patients, their care, be it emergency or non-emergency, the patients have not done any wrong. I think we should continue to serve. In the meantime, give a very strong presentation to the government, and I'm absolutely convinced that the government will find a correct way forward for us. Doctors need protection. Doctors need a better pay scale, better living conditions. Doctors need help. But in the meantime, we should not remove our care from the patients. Over to you, Heena.
Those are two very important points, sir, that you've raised, and you've also summed up the entire issue for our viewers as well. Let me go across to Dr. J.A. Jayalal as well. Dr. Jayalal, now, as Dr. Bagai also mentioned that, yes, there is a shortage of doctors in the country, but it is a commitment for life. And probably, you know, stopping work is not the most appropriate thing to do, as Dr. Bagai was mentioning, because what have these patients really done? It is extremely cold in the national capital. They come from far off places, hoping that they'll be able to get some treatment for their children or for themselves or their family members who immediately need attention. So is this the right thing to do? Your response.
Yeah, when we are deciding which is right and what is wrong, it depends upon the situation, and you will not be able to take a decision. When the honorable government is able to say within a week time, we will settle the issue, you withdraw the strike, very, very open-mindedly, all these young resident doctors has withdrawn from the strike, and they waited for the 7 days. Not only 7 days, for the previous 9 months, this is waiting for the same issue and same cause. The government knows the issue, all the learned colleagues know the issue, but still they think that it is taking it for granted that the doctors will not be able to do the strike, so that we will be going on with that and we will not be able to implement this. Why they are striking? Is it not only for that their benefit? No, when the second COVID wave has come and when there was no medical manpower, how much we suffered? 2,000 doctors died, and there is so much of difficulty we face, and that is the inventing omicron cases are there. And what is the wrong in asking for 45,000 the frontline warriors to be admitted in the college? What is the difficulty in the government to take a decision on this? You cannot say the blame that the Supreme Court is on the case is on the Supreme Court. It is sub judice. There are many issues because the life and death issue the government should take. I only appeal from the Indian Medical Association. I want to tell the government, these are our beloved children. They are on the street. They are fighting. Indian Medical Association cannot keep our eyes closed for this for a long time. If our children's desire and demand, which is in the continuous of the welfare of the community they are asking, if it is not fulfilled, even Indian Medical Association has to also involve in this struggle. And also you must all remember, it is not that we are totally closing down the hospital. the senior colleagues and senior doctors with great pain working in the hospital and taking care of the emergency and other work only to sow our protest. We, at any moment of time, when the government gives a written assurance that admission process will be started immediately, the next moment all these students will be back joining. And I very, very vehemently say this is a justifiable demand which the government, as rightly said by Dr. Bagai sir, very sensitive, Honorable Prime Minister, very compassionate Health Minister, and they should take it in a proactive way and help the country to get rid of this situation.
Okay. Now, Professor Govardhan Das, you know, when I started doing urban debate 2 weeks back, this was the first issue that I had picked up. And, you know, Professor Das, Mirror Now has been the only channel that has been relentlessly covering this issue for, for both the patients who are suffering and for the doctors as well, who are demanding, you know, because demanding something because they are overworked right now. So why is it that the center is ready to make promises but not ready to keep those promises?
Good evening, everybody. Actually, I understand the frustration of resident doctors. I agree some of the should have been done much faster, but as you know, this is but the thing is whether the striking is the solution. I don't think so. Who are the sufferers? Sufferers, the general citizens, the taxpayers. We are not giving service. Now, one thing I would like to mention, government is extremely sensitive and Prime Minister is passionate. And today we have the 53,000 postgraduate seats, 83,000 MBBS seats, 22 AIMS, 541 medical colleges. In fact, government is doing its best. And now, in this matter, in this case, there is some legal issues that is being dealt by Supreme Court. And the Honorable Health Minister today, he promised that it will be done with some decision will be done within 7 days. Still, doctors are striking. And who are the people are suffering? We are the general citizens. And this is the essential service, especially in COVID-19 period. This is essential service. And they also should be kind of
Professor Das, just like you and me, just like other panelists on the show, just like our viewers, even these resident doctors are the citizens of this country. Is it too much that they are asking for, sir? Tariq pe tariq is the only thing that we are hearing from the center. Last time also, when we picked up this issue, we were told that assurances are being given, something will be done. Now also you're telling us something will be done. Is it too much that they're asking for? What are they saying? What are they asking for? They are asking for one very basic thing, that the center should expedite the NEET PG counselling already that has been delayed.
So one
is it
thing
too
is,
tough?
One thing,
and if the center can't do it, center should simply come out and say, sir, that it can't be done.
So do you think is the interest of government of delaying the things? I don't think so. So basically, it's not the interest of the government for delaying things. However, if there is a legal issue, that has to be resolved. And optimum, the government, they have to come up with or Supreme Court is coming up with the optimum thing, what they can do. And that is the delay. So basically, it's not that such kind of decision cannot be taken. It's so hastily, rather it should be done correctly. So that is delay. I understand the frustration. But I would like to request, and the medical fraternity, they should not, the strike and the general citizens are really being suffering. And actually those are the people, they are the taxpayers, on that taxpayers' money you are being educated.
Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, I want you to come into the discussion on this particular point. I mean, when assurances were made by the centre, why can't the centre urge the Supreme Court to take up this matter on an urgent basis? I mean, why make assurances at all when nothing can be done? And if assurances are being made, why nothing is being done, sir?
I'm not a representative of the present government, but can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Sir. Yes, sir. I'm not asking you as a representative of the government or any political party. I'm just asking you, sir, as a doctor, because you represent the fraternity also for us, and it's a very tricky situation.
Yeah, I can on behalf of all the doctors request the person, Professor Das. I can request the government, and I know for a fact that what I have seen and observed as a very sensitive citizen, that the government is very compassionate about the medical fraternity. I request the government to expedite and speed up the process in which doctors are given protection against assault, they are given better pay scales, they are given rational working hours, good living conditions, and good insurance and terminal life benefits. These are basic requisites and requirements in which the doctors perform under very, very stressful conditions. And I can speak on behalf of almost 14 lakh plus doctors in India that we want to serve, we want to work without fear, without favor. We want to serve the needy. We want to reach out to as many number of human beings as possible. I always tell all my peers and my juniors, patients are not a disease. Patients are a living soul. And if we can touch more and more number of souls, this is our karma, this is our work, this is our duty, this is our moral obligation to our own nation. Please, I request the government, look into this. I'm sure there'll be a way forward. We just need to put it on priority. We just need to put this on priority. Let the young students, instead of standing in the cold, let them serve the patients who are also come in a lot of pain, a lot of need, a lot of crying, a lot of tears. They have traveled long distances. Let us not put them into discomfort. And from the resident doctor's point of view, I can only request you as your senior, end the strike, come back to work. The government has heard you. They've heard you loud and clear. And I'm absolutely convinced that the government will put this on priority. Over to you, Heena.
Dr. Jayalal, do you think that should be the right way forward? Because, yes, sir.
No. There are various incidents in the country when at the midnight, the doors of the Supreme Court and doors of the High Courts were knocked, and the judges were coming out and hearing the case and expeditiously answering to that. See, if you still look into that, Honorable Health Minister has written to the advocate, and he says that the Solicitor General only has to go, and the Solicitor General, the instruction has to come from the Prime Minister office. So if the Honorable Prime Minister is involving in this issue, and if he is asking the Solicitor General to move in the Supreme Court, I think it can be done within a few hours or few minutes. And we do not want the people to suffer. Definitely, let us not go ahead with the same old idiom that on the taxpayers' money, doctors are studying and they are not doing. Please remember, in the COVID care, it is these doctors only put in the front line and saved the millions of people. You cannot just put on one incident saying that the doctors are not doing the work. They are doing the genuine work and genuinely asking for 45,000 for this year. Next year, PG has to be there in the January. So 90,000 doctors has to be added into the stream. Is it a wrong thing? Is it not possible for the government to do it quickly? So let us take a continued view that government should come forward. Honorable Prime Minister should personally intervene in this and settle that issue. Definitely the country will be happy, and the entire medical fraternity will more dedicatedly work for the country in the days to come.
Okay, Dr. Manik said, can you tell us what could be the reason behind the delay from the centre side? Because if assurances are being made, it means that the intention is there to solve this particular crisis, right? Because we were also hearing earlier that the centre is likely to move Supreme Court on this particular matter.
From the government side, we have been hearing since I think now it's almost more than 3 weeks that they are doing something. We are doing something. Last time during our first meeting only, the health minister said within 3-4 days we'll come out with something. Then during second meeting they said no, you back down. We will come within 2-3 daes again. We will come out with something. Today also he said no, give us 1 week's time. We will come out with something. I don't know. We are ourselves curious what is causing this delay on their part. We are ourselves curious. I don't know. Frankly, I don't know. Yeah, frankly, I don't know what is the reason behind this delay.
Professor Gobardhan Das, we've discussed this earlier also.
Yeah, I understand that the curiosity is good, but the thing is, because of curiosity, when you are trying to strike, and when you are striking, the general people, general citizens are suffering, and which is not really good. I understand that the doctor saying that it has to be expedited. I agree with the to expedite, but the thing is, there is some legal issues that Supreme Court is involved. Let them come up with some optimum thing, and I understand the frustration of these resident doctors, but
why can't the health minister come out and make a statement? Why can't the health minister come out and make a statement? Professor Das, why can't the health minister come out and make a statement? Why can't the health minister himself come out and tell these resident doctors that something is being done instead of, giving these assurances and eventually nothing seems to be happening?
See, this is that I do not know why he's not coming out and saying things, but I certainly that as the doctors are saying, they had a meeting and he promised. He promised for 7 days. That there was legal issues that has to be untangled. So that is there. So then I don't know why the doctors and resident doctors are striking, and striking cannot really bring you the solution. Do you think striking will bring you some solution? I don't think so.
Dr. Anuj Agrawal, I want you to tell us, as to whether the center is ready to make this kind of a formal statement to the doctors. Has center made any such indication to the doctors when the meeting happened last time that it is going to take up the matter? Please bear with us. Did that also come up today in the meeting?
Actually, ma'am, it is very unfortunate incident that we just demanded the Honorable Health Minister to come out with some press statement to address the resident doctors, either by coming and meeting them or with the help of social media, for example, Twitter, with the help of press. And even he was not interested in giving us any written minutes of meeting also. Whatever he told us today, it was similar to the assurance that he gave us on the previous meeting that was held on 8th of December. And it was again same as the previous meetings. Earlier, he told us that the report that has to be submitted is ready. That was last week, the meeting that was held on 8th of December. He told that the report is ready and it is going to be submitted within 2-3 days. But nothing happened. And in the previous meeting, he told that they will get the case mentioned in the Supreme Court for speedy hearing, for early hearing. But nothing happened. And today also, he said the same thing, that the report is almost ready and they will mention it and they will submit it within 2 to 3 days. So whatever this Honorable Health Minister has been saying to us, that is actually slightly beyond our belief now, because he has been telling us the same thing from almost a month now. And we have been requesting him just to address the crowd, because he is the leader of masses, he is the leader of common public, and the doctors are a part of Indian citizens only. So even he is not ready to address the common public, and even he is not able to, not agreeing to put a simple tweet. Second thing I want to address is regarding Dr. Jailal's comment that doctor strike is not a good option. I agree to you, sir, but strike is the last resort that we were left with. We have been writing letters to ministry, to the judiciary also since a long time, but nothing came from their side. There was no communication at all. And regarding the protest, we started it from 27 November. It was 1 month back. And prior every action, we gave a letter of intimation to all the authorities at least 48 hours prior to that. And We first boycotted OPD services only, but consultants were working. Then we boycotted routine services, but consultants are working. And now we have been forced to boycott emergencies also. And in between, based on the assurances, in good belief, we joined our services back. But from the other side, nothing has been coming. We have not able to see any concrete action coming. So this is the last option that has been left to us, because we are feeling that we are completely being ignored and we are just unheard. And the third thing that I want to reply, you are saying that the doctors uses taxpayers' money for their education. I would like to differ in that, sir, because a doctor in government hospital of India, he provides services more than what he is paid for. The rule as per the government is to work for 48 hours in a week, but an Indian doctor works for almost 80 to 100 hours in a week, and they have to work for 36 hours to 48 hours continuously. That condition is not human condition, sir. You can't see any other professional working like that. And after that, you expect that they will provide quality care to the patient. That is, I think that is beyond any logic, sir, beyond any rationality. And whatever the doctors provide, that is beyond what they are being paid for. And what about the salary that you would have, that the government would have provided to the doctors who have been employed from May? That amount of taxpayers' money that should have been given to doctors who had been recruited till now, that is government. So who is using taxpayers' money and who is not? I think common people are able to understand, sir. That is beyond any question, sir. That is undoubtable.
Professor Govardhan Das, will you like to respond? You heard the ordeal here, what the problems are, and this was the last option probably that was available to these resident doctors, as Dr. Anuj Agrawal was telling us.
So what he is saying, see, we are not really discussing the salary of a doctor or the hostel conditions. We are discussing about the
salary was one point that he mentioned, but I'm talking about, sir, when he told us that November 27 the protest started. So 1 second, I asked you simple question on why, according to these doctors, this was the last option that was available. The protest started on 27th of November. We are discussing this issue once again in urban debate on 20th of December, and for them nothing has changed, sir. Are they not a priority?
See, government is there. Do you think this is the interest of the government to delaying the things? I don't think so. The government is very sensitive, and they are trying to come up with to settle the things as early as possible. And it is a court matter, and this court will take the decision. And government is trying its best to get it solved as soon as possible. As you know, this is regarding the reservation for the OBCs and EWS. And this is when the Supreme Court is involved. If we try to push, if the government try to push, if there is an error, there are hundreds of the lawsuits and hundreds of things. Once again, this kind of strike will going to happen. So basically, the government and the Supreme Court is coming with the solution and coming with the optimum solution. And if you think it can be done in overnight, I don't think so. It is government is not the interest of government to delay the things. So basically, it takes time. It has its own course of time. They will come up with some solution. And in fact, the Honorable Health Minister today, he talked to the resident doctors, and he promised that he is going to come up with some solution in a week time, so that they should, by any means, by any condition, they should not strike. They should take other path. So if they are striking, this is the regular citizen, normal citizens, we are the common citizens are suffering. So that is, they should not do it. This is the essential service.
Okay.
Medical service is the essential service. They should not strike.
Dr. Manik said, are the doctors ready to give another 7 days to the center as being requested? What is your plan from here on?
I just want to ask BJP spokesperson, if you were not ready with the plan, why did you bring all this thing? You could have done this with from next session. You were not ready for this. You messed up the whole session, academic session this year. One whole year is lost now. One whole academic year is lost. This is unheard of in, I would say, in any country. A total mockery of medical system has been made by your government.
See, number one, I am a BJP worker.
What happens?
But, certainly, I'm not a BJP spokesperson. This is the wrong designation you are taking. Second thing is, the whole year is not that.
He's a BJP leader, and I introduced you as Professor Molecular Medicine, JNU as well. Of course, we'll get Center to also respond to that. But Dr. Manik said, I want to ask you, what happens next from here on? What is your plan?
We are on an indefinite strike right now. Let us see how the government responds. Depending on their response, we'll plan out. Right now, we are on an indefinite strike. And this indefinite strike is for patient care only. During the first wave, we had shortage of PPE kit and masks. During second wave, we had shortage of oxygen. And during third wave, we'll be having shortage of doctors. And the government will be solely responsible for this.
See, can I come in?
We clearly do not want that kind of a situation. Professor Das. Yes, go ahead.
So the doctor, what he's saying, this is they are going to strike for indefinite time. So just to tell you, this is medical service, especially in pandemic situation, is the essential service. Essential service, you are not supposed to strike. So remember that.
Let us not use that intimidating tactics, and that everybody understand, everybody knows they are all learned colleagues, essential service, acute service, always know. And when they are taking a decision to go for the strike, they also know that it is all the threat will come like this. Please let us not use that for the young resident doctors, threatening them, saying that it is essential service, will take action. Let us work hard to make some decision or solution for the issue which they are facing.
So the government is working on this
solution. Professor Das, let me also add here. Professor Das, 1 second. Professor Das, 1 second. But Professor Das, it's not being shown that the government is looking at this particular issue on priority. That is why I asked you a specific question earlier also. 2 weeks back when we debated this particular issue, we were discussing exactly the same thing. When for other issues, the center can go to the Supreme Court, why for this matter, the center is not moving the Supreme Court? And why then promises are being made? When the center is not keen to even keep those promises. We've heard all sides here. I want to give the last word to Dr. Sanjeev Bagai. Dr. Bagai, it's a very tricky situation. You heard these young resident doctors as well. I mean, the poster that they're carrying with them reads, "We are not robots. Residents, not robots. No service without justice. We are human beings, not robots." They're also human beings in the end. Don't you think that the center should at least give them that statement of intention, should come out in the public, come out, address them and say that, fine, we know you have a problem, we know there are concerns, let us fix it together. We are doing something. Don't you think that is the least that the government can do at this point in time, the health minister himself, sir?
Yeah, Heena, there are 3 quick points. One is, I think doctors overall, not only residents, but mid-level doctors, the lady doctors, the frontline doctors, the doctors in emergency who are working almost 24-hour shifts non-stop for months and years together. It's not a question of intent. Now it's a question of resolving the pending issues. Point number 2, what really differentiates us as a medical profession versus all other professions is patience. Okay, it's deep digging heels of patience. And I think this patience is going to help us come out of the strike. Let's get back to work. The message has been conveyed to the government. It's been conveyed earlier. They've asked for a week's time. Give them a week's time. Continue your communication, and I'm absolutely sure you'll find a resolution. Point number 3, it's important here to note that when we strike, we are not only harming our duty, we are harming millions of other lives who come in our hope. Let us not affect their level of care. It is our inborn moral commitment to serve the patients. Let us continue to do that. It doesn't mean that our demands are not justified. Sure that the government will, as soon as possible, look into it. It's not a question now only of showing intent. It's a question of now resolving the issues, but get back to work. That's my only request to all the young doctors.
Well, we also hope that this issue is resolved as soon as possible, because these resident doctors, in fact, have been protesting since November 27th. I appreciate all of you, gentlemen, for joining us here on Urban Debate.